Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and you're still in the Nile cruise, and moving to our second topic, the Grand Tour, Egypt's golden era of the luxury travel. And for centuries, a journey known as the Grand Tour was the ultimate status symbol for the global elite. By the 19th century, Egypt became the crown jewel of this exclusive travel circuit for Europe and the royals and the American tycoons and world-famous intellectuals. Floating down the Nile was the ultimate lifetime dream. And to dig in this issue more, we are most delighted to be joined by Reem El-Sharnouby, a tourist guide. Thank you so much for being on the Nile Cruise, Reem.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, sure.
Reem, can you tell me more about, to start, when the world has shifted their travel focus from the European capitals in the 80s? What made Egypt the ultimate exotic luxury destination?
Recently, Egypt started to be a luxury place for all the Europeans to come to visit. So a lot of things in Egypt already changed, especially the vibes of Egypt. We still mixing the culture with the new things that we have now in Egypt. For example, we have the culture, we have the civilization, but also we have new hotels added, a new things already added, a new vibes. So a lot of people now change it because they already saw the places in all the world, which is okay. It started to be okay for them, but now in Egypt we have a lot of adventures, a lot of experiences they can try. They can add something to their own journey if they are travelers, especially because nowadays we have a lot of travelers prefer to come to Egypt to stay in Egypt for months, actually not only days. So we have the historical sites, we have the sea, we have for sure the River Nile. And all the time when I'm explaining for my guests, especially when I would like to describe Egypt for all my guests, I have to say a word or a sentence very, very important to say, that the main source of life in Egypt, the River Nile. And for that reason, we have a vibe in Egypt, especially the River Nile, attract a lot of people from all over the world, and a lot of people did that, already changed it just to be in Egypt because of the River Nile, to stay days and days in the River Nile.
Yes. As you said, and as you mentioned, back then the wealthy travelers, for example, didn't just stay in Egypt for days but the months. They stayed for months. How did Egypt manage to build such a high-end reputation that satisfied the luxurious demands of the international reality?
It's not easy, by the way, to attract the people. Yeah, very difficult to attract the people to leave everything in all the world just to come to Egypt, to stay in Egypt. So we made a track to establish a new foundation for the tourism all in Egypt. So now we are providing tours, providing luxury hotels, providing vibes, providing culture, history, civilization. So to make something like this with all the people from all over the world, that's not easy, but Egypt succeeded to do that by adding a lot of hotels, by establishing new places close to the River Nile, especially the River Nile. And all the time you'll find me talking about the River Nile because the River Nile, it's very, very important because we are so lucky to have it in the land of Egypt. Yes, sure, all the time. The main source of life, as I mentioned. So the people prefer it just because of the vibes, because of the places, because they can see the culture, the normal life, the daily life of the normal people in Egypt was also staying in the two sides of the River Nile, was watching temples, history. So that's adding, not cutting from Egypt, from the civilization in Egypt.
Yes, as you mentioned that the River Nile is our source of life here in Egypt, and it's our wealth too. The shift from the small and slow sailboats to the luxurious steamships in the Nile fleets changed everything. How did this new way of moving on the river change the type of tourists coming to Egypt?
We changed it just because of one reason. We would like something faster, easier, and more comfortable. So we still have the old, we can say the old vision, or the old thing that we still have it till nowadays in Egypt, but also we added a new boats to be a little bit okay with the people, not okay with the people because some people have some phobias. Yeah, so we have to add some to be also suitable for a standard of people, because not all the people prefer the old the old way of using the boats. So we added to be faster, comfortable, and luxury for the high position people, or for the VIPs. So and now we have it just to be easier to take days and days, to take the Nile cruise, for example, as a hotel, and also you can see the life in Egypt, or to see the normal people in Egypt, to see the places, to see the vibes, to try everything, and it will be adventure as well.
Yes, also moving to the historic hotels built during the era like the Grand Palaces, as we know that we all have here in Egypt a lot of palaces blending the European and the Eastern architecture. How did these unique spaces help to create the romantic image of Egypt that tourists still look for till now?
In Egypt, we are so lucky to have a lot of places or a lot of, we can say, palaces that change it to be a hotels. So if we have a hotel like this, that's good for us as an Egyptians or as Egyptians to show the people the image of old Egypt with the new vision that we have now for the tourism. So we are providing for you a hotel, old place with a lot of vibes, and also the people inside these hotels still nowadays still protecting the uniforms, for example. For example, in El Moise Street, we still have some of the places that changed to be a hotel. Just to provide for the people some, like we can say, hospitality, but they are still protecting their own uniforms, like the ancient Egyptian people or like the middle years to show. Yeah, attracting so much, especially also the front side of these places. For example, we still have some hotels with mashrabiyya design. Mashrabiyya, it's an Islamic design, but we still protecting this design just to decorate the places that we're still using till nowadays as a hotels to provide something for the people and to show them the culture of the place that they are in.
Returning back to the Nile River, our source of wealth here, the legendary writers like Agatha Christie famously spent months and months on the Nile to find the creative inspiration. What is about the specific magic and the pace of the river that sparked such iconic masterpieces?
The magic of the River Nile started so early, not because Agatha Christie or something like this. A lot of writers and thinkers already stayed days and days, and we can say months in the River Nile just to write something. So Agatha Christie, when she stayed in the River Nile, she already started to inspire her own writing from the River Nile, and she wrote actually a novel called, yeah, This in the River Nile, or This in the Nile. So she wrote because she already inspired this from the River Nile by the staying in the middle of the River Nile. So not only her, all the people, all the writers, all the thinkers already came just to feel relaxed and because of the calmness of the River Nile. So when you are inside the River Nile, it's something incredible. Not all the people know about this. You have to try to know what about this. Yeah, actually, it's a good adventure for all the people who prefer to try something different, and also you will not be able to find it in anywhere, just in Egypt, because in Egypt we have the Nile.
Yes, the sound. We are seeing the ultra-wealthy tourists bypass the massive modern cruise ships to rent the private traditional wooden dahabiyas. Why are the modern elites willing to pay the premium for the slow vintage style of the travel instead of the quick ones?
The Habaya very old, but the people prefer it because of the private, or they prefer something private for their own family. For example, we have families prefer to come here to spend the time together in Egypt, so they prefer it because they prefer to feel or to feel that they already booked something private for just themselves. And also the design of the dahabaya, actually, it's very, very unique and different. You will not be able to find it in anywhere. We have the big boats that we still have it till nowadays, but we have the old boats like the Habaya, just to give them that chance to feel that they are alone in anywhere. So in the tours, they are alone. In the rooms, they are alone. If they are in the restaurants, they are alone. So it's like a private boat with a luxury design, with a private place. So it's totally different and a magic. It's like a magical thing for all the people to try it, the habaya.
Well, Reem, if a luxury traveler wants to experience the nostalgia of the 19th century, the golden age, in your point of view, what are the key historical experiences we can offer them or you can offer them as a tourist guide?
So for me, if I would like to recommend something for the guests to be unforgettable for all of them, I prefer for them to try something like the Habaya, for example, old design, luxury, and it's a private, as we mentioned, so they can try everything just as a private place. They can do tours just alone without any person with a tour guide. They can try romantic dates. If they are a couple, for example, they can try a romantic date with the River Nile. So it's giving them like an image for Egypt and unforgettable. So in all the world we have palaces, we have places, we have squares we can visit, but it will not be unforgettable like Egypt, like the River Nile, like staying in a private place. You will remember, or the guests will remember after coming back, that I already celebrated my first date with my girlfriend or boyfriend in the River Nile. So it's something will not be, yeah, will not be able, or they will not be able to repeat it.
Yes, let's talk more about the Nile today during the holidays, especially in Eid al-Adha. How does the atmosphere along the Nile change the overnights?
So we as Egyptians, we prefer to celebrate Eid by lighting some lights, by just cooking some food from the Egyptian cuisine, and it's something good for the tourists to see when they are in the River Nile or when they are in the cruise, to see the two sides, to see the people when they are celebrating, especially the people who prefer to stay in the two sides of the River Nile in the gardens to eat food during the morning time and the night time as well. So the people, or all the people, can see it. The tourists and also the Egyptians can feel it, can celebrate it.
Yes, talking about the Egyptians, the Egyptian family, especially an Eid celebration isn't Eid without riding the felucca. And the ride of the felucca is very special here in Egypt. How does this local tradition compare to the high-end commercial tourism sharing this same river Nile?
You know that Faluka, actually not only for the Egyptians, a lot of foreigners prefer it. Yes, not only the Egyptians, yes. So a lot of people prefer the Nile cruise, okay, but a lot of people prefer the small boat, which is Faluka. Yeah, so they prefer it, and it's now not only for the Egyptians. So we are talking now about um, something for Egyptians and for foreigners. So the Egyptians can try it for fun to celebrate Eid, but foreigners can try it to feel the Egyptian traditions or the Egyptian vibes. So something also in Egypt, just in Egypt.
Fantastic. During the dining by the water, as you said, is a huge part from our Egyptian culture here and from the holiday culture especially. Are there specific social food or rituals tied to the Nile banks during the Eid to give the city a unique holiday vibe?
Yes, yes, actually, yes. So let me tell you something about the Eids and about the celebrations. For example, if we're talking about Ramadan, in Ramadan we prefer to add some colors to decorate the places. In one day, in few hours, we can change the vibes of Ramadan to be Eid by adding some lights to change the decorations, and instead of being Ramadan decorations to be Eid decorations. And that's very good for us as Egyptians to show the foreigners that we can do everything in just few hours. We can change the vibes of the places. So it's a good impression for the tourists to try something and just to sleep, to wake up again, to see something different in the same place that they already stayed in. So if you are talking about Eid in Egypt, Eid the best place to try the vibes of Eid, just Egypt, because you can see the vibes, you can try it, you can feel it, not only to see it.
Finally, also, Reem, if you were designing a special itinerary for the high-end tourist who wants to experience Egypt specifically and especially during the Eid season, how would you balance the luxury with the authentic local holiday traditions?
So we are making like a balance between the Egyptians and the foreigners. The Egyptians in the two sides of the River Nile celebrating celebrations or celebrating Eid, if it's Eid Fitr or Eid Adha, but the people or the foreigners staying in the big boats, watching what's happening, watching the celebrations, seeing what's happening around them, so they can stay in a big boat, luxury boats, very expensive, not cheap at all, and they can see the soul, or they can see the culture, the vibes of Egypt. So now it's a balance, because now we are providing a high-end quality of hospitality, and also we are showing them traditions or something real. Actually, it's not just acting or showing them like a show and that's it. No, we are showing them the reality with something luxury and very expensive.
Reem Adel El-Sharnouby, thank you so much for being on the Nile Cruise, and thank you for your wonderful journey through every the time that you joined us through.
Thank
And
you so
it's
much,
a
Sahar.
pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's my